Hi everyone, Rachael here, and welcome back to another episode of the Ditch the Right podcast. So those of you who know me well will know already that I love to spend a lot of time outdoors in nature. I think when you hit a certain age, maybe it's when you get to 30 plus, the fun in your life sort of changes from going out drinking and dancing at the weekend to suddenly finding new hobbies like climbing hills and going out into national parks for the day and looking at the scenery. Well, that's actually always been a big part of my life, but especially in the last few years, I've learned to enjoy being outdoors so much, and it's something that I make sure that is a part of my daily life. So when I came across our guest today, I found her way of coaching so interesting, and I wanted to speak to Karen about the way that she goes about her coaching business. Now, Karen is a life coach in London, and Karen coaches all of her clients outdoors in London's parks. So she takes her clients out walking in the parks whilst doing their coaching sessions. And so I was really excited to speak to her about the reasons why she does this and why we might want to consider spending more time outside as well. So I really hope you enjoy this episode. It's a little bit different to anything that we've had before, and I really do hope that it inspires you to get outside a little bit more often and see just how much it could improve your quality of life.
Thank you very much for joining me. So before we get going, who are you? What do you do? Can you tell me a little bit about you first?
Yeah, so my name is Karen. I'm originally from Hamburg in Germany. I've moved to London in 2001, so I've been here for 18 years now.
Oh, okay.
And what I'm now doing is my second career. So I work as a life coach and mindfulness trainer. I have my own business that is called Greenspace Coaching and Mindfulness. And I've developed a particular approach to coaching, which is coaching while walking in London's parks and green spaces.
Okay, that sounds really, really interesting. Can you tell me a little bit about your background? So what did you do before you started coaching, and why did you decide to make the transition into the type of work that you do now?
Yeah. So I think what's brought me to coaching and mindfulness was my own struggles, actually. So my first career was in linguistics and translation. I specialized in film translation, particularly subtitles for films. And that was the reason why I moved to London. Okay. I was offered a job in the subtitling and film translation industry. It was at the time when all the DVDs came out and the big companies wanted the DVDs subtitled. So I was at the right place at the time, in the right place at the right time. However, it was a very, very demanding job. I was promoted straight away to head up a team without very much supervision or line management. So I really needed help and some skills, and I looked up coaching. I had read an introduction to coaching, and then I thought, it would be really good to perhaps do a coaching weekend. And I did, and it was so helpful and supportive that I decided to do the whole coaching training. And initially it was just for myself, just for my personal and professional development, to give me more skills to self-regulate, to manage myself better, but also to become a better team leader, to understand my team members better, to communicate better, and to manage better workload and have a balanced life.
Yeah.
So I did that, and it helped me so much that I then decided to share it with others and to make coaching my livelihood, if you like. And that's when my journey began. So that goes back to 2004 when I started the whole coaching journey.
Okay.
And I set myself up as a coach in my own business in 2008.
Okay. And what type of people do you work with now? Do you work with people that are in the corporate industry like you were, to help them achieve what you've achieved, kind of thing? Do you have a specific type of client?
I think because I share my personal story on my website a little bit, I think I do attract mainly professional men and women in their 30s, 40s and 50s. And those are like me at the time are people who, on the surface have everything they need, if you like. They have a job, they have a nice home, they have friends, their life seems to be okay, but at another level they feel unfulfilled. They feel that they are missing out on opportunities, that they are wasting their time, and somewhere they feel their life lack meaning and purpose. So I attract this type of clients, very much.
And have you always coached people outdoors, or how did you start off? How did it start for you?
Yeah, it's a lovely question. No, I initially had a consultation room within a health centre where there were other practitioners. But after a year or so of seeing clients inside, something didn't work for me, something didn't feel right. And I discussed it with my own coach at the time. So I always have a coach and have regular coaching sessions to reflect on my own life and how I do what I do and how I live. And I said to her at the time, I don't like working as I'm working now. Something's missing. I'm not enjoying it. And we discussed it. But then on a solitary walk, so I regularly take myself on a walk because when I go on a walk in nature, I have my best ideas, and I often do it when I want to have new ideas or want to write a new book or want to develop my business. And it was on one of those long walks that I had the idea, I could take my clients outside and walk with them. And I live in East London, and we have Victoria Park on our doorstep. It's a beautiful big park. And I thought, I could do that. And my coach recommended that I could ask 4 friends of friends to come along to try it out and to let me know how they like it, and for me to explore a little bit how it could work. And I did that. And the feedback was amazing. People loved it. And that gave me confidence that, I was on the right track. And so I put it on my website. I said I also offer coaching while walking. And people picked up on it straight away. Most people then wanted to be outside rather than inside. And that's when I'm happiest as well.
That's amazing. So do you still have a consultation room if people want to come inside, or do most of your clients go outside?
In the last 2 weeks, I didn't have a single indoor face-to-face session.
Wow.
I still have a consultation room. The health centre I was with, they are fantastic people, and they allowed me to sometimes, if I needed, book an ad hoc room.
That's brilliant.
But I haven't needed it. And also with the improved online video conferencing, I do sometimes see clients on Skype or Zoom, FaceTime. So some people who are further away and who want to work with me, I see them online.
Okay.
Which also works well.
Yeah, I suppose they could probably talk to you whilst they're out walking on their phone, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Clients have done that. Yeah, they walk and we talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what benefits have you found, not just in your client's life, but what benefits have you found in your life from spending more time in green space, outdoors, in nature? I mean, you live in East London, so you're sort of in the city as well. And I'm guessing that the green space is a much welcome break from that at times. So how does it make you feel, and what do you find are the benefits in your own life?
Yeah, I mean, I could not live in London without the green spaces, without the big park, but also the canal, the other green spaces. Mm-hmm. So when I spend time outside, instantly I feel differently. I feel more spacious inside because I have more space outside. Mm-hmm. Instantly I can ground myself more by walking or cycling. Mm-hmm. By walking and cycling, the body moves, and that always creates more space also in the mind. Mm-hmm. Because when we sit, and many of us sit a lot during the day at the desk or in the office, mm-hmm. we can get a little bit stuck. Yeah. In the mind. But as soon as we move and step outside, the mind loosens up a bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the mind then also needs to focus on the body movement, and that creates a bit more space in the whole body, in the mind. Mm-hmm. So there are many benefits. And of course, generally when we are outside or I'm outside and in green space, it's very deeply soothing. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
It's just because we are from nature. Mm-hmm. Nature is our place of origin, so it's hardwired into us. As soon as we have green space and nature and the color green around us, it has a soothing effect on our nervous system. Mm-hmm. So it's very deeply soothing, I think, and calming.
Mm-hmm. I think it's something as well that, you know, getting outdoors is something that is available to everybody, no matter where you live, no matter what scale you are, where you are on the scale of economy, anything like that. You literally, like, if you want to spend time outdoors, it's something that is accessible to everyone. But one of the things I come up against quite a lot in the coaching that I do is that people often think that moving, physical activity, for example, needs to be something that is intense or breaks a huge sweat or gets your heart rate up in order for there to be physical benefits from it or benefits to our health. But I would argue that and say that, you know, for me personally, walking is something that I do like every single day. It's a non-negotiable part of my lifestyle, and it's made such a huge difference to both my physical and mental health. So what benefits have you seen? What benefits are there physically and mentally? I know you've touched on a few there. Are there any other that you can think of that, you know, if someone is listening to this and thinks that they want to improve their health or want to get a bit fitter or healthier, spending time outdoors, what could that possibly do for you if you decided to start off with 10 minutes, for example?
Yeah. So we can start with the physical benefits. I think walking 10 minutes a day can bring much more balance to the body, because I do think we sit far too much. Mm-hmm. And one thing, for example, when we sit, often I notice it, and I'm very active, but when I sit for more than an hour at my desk, mm-hmm. and I get up, I can really feel my joints in my hands, mm-hmm. in my knees and hips and ankles. Mm-hmm. And we know from research now that when we don't move our body for an hour or so, the fluids in our joints, they get a little bit, they slow down. Mm-hmm. The fluids are not moving as well anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's where the stiffness comes from. So just moving and walking every day for 10 minutes brings the movement into the liquids in our body, the fluids, particularly in our joints, and keeps the body in good shape. Mm-hmm. Keeps the body balanced and soft. So that's one big benefit of being outside walking, which of course one can do in a fitness center.
Yeah, of course, I suppose. Yeah.
Because the benefits of outside also at the same time, you get the mental benefits when you walk outside. And that's what people love in my approach, that they not only do they get the professional development or the personal development, but at the same time, they do something for their body.
Yeah.
When they're walking with me for an hour.
Yeah.
And another benefit, I guess, is that it always, whether we walk for 10 minutes or 15, whether we walk slowly or a bit faster, we always also do something for our heart rate, whether we want it or not. Yeah, because the heart rate is always different as soon as we move the body. So it always gets us going.
Yeah.
And it's different from just sitting.
Oh, yeah. And you'll be able to benefit from all of the positive things that come as a result of your heart rate being up a little bit as well.
Yeah. So very important, and not to underestimate. Yeah, even if it's just 10 minutes, we do get the body going in a very different way, and it's a holistic activity, walking. And then, of course, it's also very good for our digestive system, the walking. Yeah. Because when the body is static, again, a bit like with the joints, when the body is not moving, it's all a bit more static. There's less activity in the body. And when we walk, everything it's like a machine, if you like. And when we on it regularly, it just works much better. I like that image, actually.
I didn't put this on the outline, so I'm sorry if I'm going to bombard you with a question now that I haven't given you in advance, but it's not too bad, I don't think. I wasn't going to go into this, but I thought it would be worthwhile having a chat to you about it. So if someone is listening to the podcast just now that feels, although they have probably come to listen to the podcast because they perhaps want to lose weight, because that is why a lot of people do come to ditch the diet, but they're feeling a bit stuck on either how to get started or even with something else in their life, and they feel unmotivated perhaps. Do you have any sort of simple things that someone could go away from this episode listening to perhaps doing that wouldn't take too much time, that they could just have a little bit of a positive boost as a result?
Yeah, it's always an interesting area, motivation, what moves us, what the word to move is in the word motivation. Yeah, what moves us to really live the life we want to live, whether that's around what we eat or how we spend our time, the contributions we make, our health, how we look after ourselves. It always has to something that deeply moves us, that moves us enough so that we do it. So that's always an interesting area in coaching, as we are helping people to do more what they want to do, whether it's the diet or the work they do or the relationship they have. So a helpful little exercise I often give to get people clear about getting started again or moving, taking the first steps, is asking themselves around, what matters, what really matters to me right now about my diet, for example, or what is it that is most important to me in my job, or what is most important to me right now about how I spend my time, what on and with whom. Yeah, those are challenging questions because we really need to reflect what's important to us, and I think often we don't spend enough time asking ourselves those important questions. So that's a powerful little exercise to just write down what is important to me right now about my diet. And whatever answer comes, the exercise is to ask the question again, and what is important about that? And then whatever the answer is to that, what is important about that?
Yeah.
And that gets us to the core of what moves us, or what is really the reason for me wanting to make an effort in a particular area and to get started. And when we know that, it touches us, really touches our heart. And that is what gives us the energy to take a step. Because all of a sudden, I know this is what this is all about. Yeah, I want to do it.
That's great. I love that. It's brilliant. Thank you so much. Going back to the outdoors before we finish up, if our listeners are interested in benefiting from spending more time outdoors, what are some ways that you can suggest for them to perhaps start to pursue more time outside?
Yeah, it can be really simple. Again, it's not so much about spending hours and hours outside, but finding short moments where when we can step outside. So I often recommend, particularly for people who have a busy life and who work full time, to think about walking to work or walking part of the way to work. Getting off one stop earlier and to walk. Because nature's everywhere, even in our sometimes very urban environments. There's always some nature, because the trees, the sky is always there, so we can always look up. There are often little parks or green spaces dotted around, so we can have a good look around. Or cycling to work. Maybe considering cycling one way or both ways if possible. Or stepping outside at lunchtime. If there's a nearby park, that's great to spend some time there and maybe walking around. Or walking around the block. Yeah, that's also spending time outside. Or, of course, considering spending time outside at the weekend, maybe going on a long walk in the countryside. I do a long walk every month with a good friend, and then I also schedule walks on my own in nature. Or maybe doing a bit of gardening. Many people do have a garden but don't do very much in it. But just very simply, maybe planting some seeds, or autumn is coming, putting in some bulbs and then enjoying the spring flowers next March. It's hugely beneficial. I have a small garden myself, and that's the first thing I go to when I come home. I have a look around in my little garden at the flowers and pick the old buds and water the plants. It's just wonderful. Or I was thinking just now, there are many charities as well where one can get involved to spend time outside and outside, like the London, or not just the London Wildlife Trust, the Wildlife Trust offers voluntary activities. Or the Conservation Volunteers, that's an organization, the Conservation Volunteers, they offer loads of activities outside around the UK. So also
that sounds really interesting.
And last week, London has become a national park city. I don't know whether you've heard it in the news. I followed that campaign for many years. I'm following it. So London National Park City, for example, for those of the listeners who are in London, offers many, many activities outside. So that's worth looking at as well. Yeah,
that's really interesting. I'll get all of the links and have them in the show notes if anyone's interested. Speaking about links and things for the show notes, where can we find out a bit more about you and the work that you do, if anyone is maybe local to London or perhaps not even local that wants to find out a bit more about what you do? What's the best way to do that?
So my website is greenspacecoaching.com, and then people can also follow me on Instagram or Twitter. I'm also on LinkedIn. And on Twitter and Instagram, it's under Greenspace Coaching or Greenspace Coach.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. I will make sure all of the links are in the notes. So if you are listening and you want to find out more about what Karen does, then you can just scroll down on the page that you are listening to this from, and all of the links will be there. So again, thank you so much to Karen for your time today.
Thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure.
So thank you so much to Karen for her time today, being on the podcast. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I hope you've enjoyed listening and have been inspired to get outside a bit more often than you maybe currently are. If you'd like to find out more about what Karen does, I've put all the links that we've spoken about throughout the entire episode in the show notes, so you can just scroll down and have a look and use the links within the show notes to click through and find out a bit more. And if you're interested in the Ditch the Diet Academy, which is why you're listening to this podcast, just to let you know that we are reopening the Academy mid-September, so not too long to wait now. Just about another 5 weeks or so until we reopen, but there is a waiting list, so I'll put the link in the show notes as well. It's just ditchthedietacademy.com/join. That's all you need to do. Really easy. So I look forward to seeing you in the Academy in September when we reopen. And again, for another episode of the podcast next Thursday. I'll see you then. Thanks for listening.